See 20 seconds.
No.
What's that? Oh, I got it. That's it. When I walk down, Sam, you can just follow. I'm gonna walk down and sit down.
Okay.
All right.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sam Felber, and I'm the president of the Student Government Association of Virginia Tech. SGA is very proud to support today's town hall and play a role in the development of the Innovation Campus. SGA is happy to see our administration play a role in this conversation with students and take the lead on a project that is sure to bring a benefit to both the university and the Commonwealth of Virginia for years to come. I'm pleased to introduce the moderator of today's event, College of Science Dean Sally Morin. Welcome, Dean Morin.
So thank you very much, Sam. I'm delighted to welcome you here, everyone joining us in the Haymarket Theatre, as well as those watching online. Thank you for joining us. There's been a lot of excitement since plans for the Innovation Campus were announced in November, and on that same day, as you'll know, Amazon announced plans to build a new headquarters in Northern Virginia. It's great to have this opportunity 4 months hence to come together as a community, share updates, and answer questions that you may have. I'll start by introducing the 4 members of the Innovation Campus executive team here on the stage. We're delighted to have the president of Virginia Tech, Dr. Tim Sands, with us. We also have the executive vice president and provost, Dr. Cyril Clarke. Thank you for joining us. We also have Dr. Dwayne Pinkney, who's the senior vice president for operations and administration. Thank you, Dr. Pinkney. And last, we have Dr. Brandy Salmon. She is the founding managing director of the Virginia Tech Innovation Campus. We'll start with some general questions that I'll pose, and we hope to really have a dialogue, a conversation with these leaders. Then we'll use the last 25 to 30 minutes for your questions. So I want you to be thinking about the questions that you'd like to ask. Please note that we are recording this presentation. If you are joining us online, there are instructions on how to submit a question, and we welcome those questions as well. So let's start with President Sands. How was the Innovation Campus envisioned, and how does it tie into Virginia Tech's land-grant mission of teaching, research, and service?
Well, thank you. but one Virginia Tech that uses those platforms and portals to attract talent and to execute our mission.
Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Salmon, I know the Innovation Campus is just part of the Commonwealth's higher education package. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how Virginia Tech's partnering with the state?
Great, yeah, so I'll give you a little of the background on how we started to engage with the Virginia Economic Development Partnership to work on the proposal itself and then what that led to. So now about a year and a half ago, and some of you may already know the story, but just to back up a little bit, about a year and a half ago, Amazon released this RFP and requested proposals. And in all told, there was something like 240 proposals from regions around the nation in response to the RFP. And in Virginia, this was led by the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. We call that VEDP. And a really visionary leader there, Stephen Murray, helped organize that. And he helped the state put together a number of proposals. So actually Northern Virginia was not the only one. There was one that was provided by Newport News areas and Richmond, and Northern Virginia was a third. And then he took a really data-intensive process through that and asked questions around what each area's strengths and weaknesses might be. In Northern Virginia, for example, it was shown through data that they had one of the most robust talent pipelines in computer sciences and computer engineering and digital fields, but they also had some of the biggest gaps. And the gaps were just dynamics of supply and demand, a really robust job market there. So as VEDP was assembling proposals, they started asking the question, how can we put together the most compelling proposals and recognize that tech talent and strong research partners were going to be a really big part of that. In fact, in the RFP itself, it says, looking for a strong university system to support talent development. And so with that, Virginia Tech, as well as other universities in the Commonwealth, started working with VEDP to put together opportunities and proposal concepts that could be part of the overall package. And what we put forward was generally recognized as a really compelling part. So we are the right university at the right time. Our mission aligns in terms of Virginia Tech and our presence in both the urban and rural areas. So we had the privilege of working alongside VEDP to put together concepts. Now, as President Sand says, over time, the VEDP continued to work with Amazon, and we did not know if we would win until the day of. And it was a really exciting call that I was privileged to make to President Sands to say that we won. And in some presentations, you will actually see a picture of me jumping for joy. It's not here, thank goodness. It's been widely used now that we surfaced this terrible picture. So we jumped for joy. I think the key thing to leave with is the idea that in the end, the package really, the proposal to Amazon became a number of discrete parts. There are specific incentives to Amazon that are related to their job growth. So as they create high-paying jobs, the Commonwealth and the cities have provided them some incentives, well below what many other incentives were provided nationally, a much more modest package. But in addition to that kind of direct engagement with Amazon, there was a reinvestment back into the Commonwealth. And this investment had three main pillars: a higher ed package, a transportation package, and a housing package. And so what the investment that will go into the Innovation Campus and the Tech Talent Pipeline and investments in Blacksburg are all part of this higher ed investment back into the Commonwealth. It's about $1 billion, and over half of it is to Virginia Tech. And in Virginia Tech's case, about half is for the Innovation Campus and half is for enrollment growth and faculty support and a capital project in Blacksburg. So just as President Sands says, this has a real duality where it's really about growing programs in both locations. And again, not directly tied to Amazon. We see that, we hope Amazon will become even a bigger strategic partner than they already are, but so too will other partners there regionally and in Blacksburg.
Struck a little bit on a point I'd like to go to and maybe ask Provost Clarke to touch upon. We have, I can see faculty and staff and students here from Blacksburg. We're talking about Northern Virginia, but what will this mean for our colleagues here in Blacksburg?
undergraduate education through experiential learning. The other part, and in some respects the bigger part, actually has to do with Blacksburg. And this really has to do with the commitment that our institution has made in terms of really growing undergraduate education in Blacksburg in computer science. The plan that emerged while the negotiations proceeded with Amazon involved a commitment of Virginia Tech to increase, essentially double our enrollment in computer science and computer engineering to increase that enrollment by about 2,000 students. So what this essentially means is that an enrollment of 2,000 students in an undergraduate program, you can do the arithmetic here, that's an expectation that we would be graduating probably close on 400 to 500 students a year. So we'll actually get going on that soon. But an addition of 2,000 students enrolled in Blacksburg, of course, requires that we build the necessary educational and student services infrastructure around that. And so we're going to have to hire faculty. These will be tenure track and collegiate faculty. But bear in mind that as soon as you hire tenure track faculty, you're hiring faculty who will be engaged in research and scholarship. And so this means that in addition to the expansion in undergraduate enrollment, we'll see an expansion in graduate, principally research-based enrollment too. And so there are all sorts of arrangements around student services, making sure that we continue to maintain this very high quality of instruction here on our campus. And part of that has to do, of course, with space. And so where are we going to educate these students? Well, part of the plan going forward, and the state thus far is of course very supportive of that, is to move forward with the Global Business and Analytics Complex, which has been on the drawing board for some time. This is a capital expansion here on campus that involves the Pamplin College of Business, Data Analytics and Decision Sciences building, and then residence halls too. And so we'll be able to, through this program, to move ahead with initiating the planning and construction of that Data Analytics and Decision Sciences building, which of course is going to encourage and facilitate, I think, us moving forward in terms of that entire so-called GBACS complex.
Thank you. I'm going to focus a little on the numbers now and ask Dr. Pinkney. We've heard $1 billion. So how does Virginia Tech pay for that and not take resources away from other important things that we're trying to do at the university?
Okay, well, thank you. Fortunate that Virginia Tech is in partnership with the Commonwealth to support the Innovation Campus. While I have a great deal of confidence in Virginia Tech, we are certainly, and I think that if $1 billion was our target with the support that we have and with the wonderful alumni we have and the energy and excitement around this, I think we could hit it. We're not alone, and there are important pillars to support the development of the Innovation Campus. Those pillars include, of course, the commitment that we'll make, $250 million in the initial phase of the project or the delivery. The state will match that with its $250 million. In addition to the $250 million from the state, the $250 million from Virginia Tech, we will be not only anticipating, but we will be relying on our industry partnerships, private philanthropy, and other sources of revenue that we'll bring to bear. $1 billion sounds like a lot, because it is, but over the the timeline of the project, it certainly is more than reasonable expectation about the kinds of investments that we'll make as an institution, that the state has made and will make on behalf of the Commonwealth, and the industry partnerships and the philanthropy. So all of those pillars together will support the $1 billion build-out of the Innovation Campus in phases.
Wonderful, thank you. Now, you touched a little on my next question, which is timeline. I'm very interested in knowing, when's this going to happen? Tomorrow? What's the timeline? Don't know who's best to take that? Dr. Salmon.
Right, thank you. So the way that we've been articulating that is that, this was an unusual opportunity in the sense that it was some sort of fusion of great strategic planning, a bold vision, and a competition. And so if you put all that cocktail together, you have day 2, which is where we are now. And that means that there will be a lot of planning over the next year. We're taking a data-intensive approach where we are very thoughtful about the decisions that we make. We have a team structure that allows for a lot of input and engagement. And through that process, we're very deliberately marching through the decisions that need to be made. And we see that over the next year. Between years 2 and 5, we can imagine shovels in the ground and buildings start to come online. In that period of time, we'll have startup space where we'll be running programs and scaling the programs. But really, the full scale of programs will unfold over 8 years. So we have time. And that's important because we want to get it right. And why is it so important to get it right? Because we're thinking in terms of decades and a century and not a quarter. So I know that in Arlington anyway, there's a lot of fervor to get the buildings put up and that sort of thing. And we definitely are approaching this with urgency. But an Amazon timeline will be very different than ours. And what we're planning for is really to think about our future over the next 100 years. And so we'll be taking our time to get that right. We have an amazing team of people that are working really hard on that. And a lot of the master planning is being worked on and led by our brand new Assistant Vice President for Planning and our lead architect, Lisa Morris. And so she's been working closely with our team to think about that process too.
Great, thank you. I want to turn to you, Provost Clarke. If I'm a current student sitting in the audience or a prospective student considering coming to Virginia Tech, what sort of opportunities will I have due to this partnership?
Well, this is a fantastic opportunity for us really to, in the immediate term, computer science and computer engineering. So this opportunity serves as a convening element to attract to our institution additional top-notch students and faculty and staff. And so that elevation of the visibility and the reputation of the program itself, I think continues to raise, even above our current accomplishment, the value of the education received here. But in addition to that, this opportunity will bring resources to the institution, resources that will directly impact not only the instructional space and capacity of tech, but also the provision of student services and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So we've touched on a lot of things. I want to turn to you, President Sands. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you hope will happen with respect to industry partnerships. We've heard about Amazon. Is it all Amazon? What's going to happen for us?
No, Amazon has been a partner of ours for a long time. They host our Virginia Cyber Range in the cloud, and so we've worked with Amazon Web Services for a while. They have, I believe, 500 Hokies on payroll right now, and that will grow, obviously. But there are many other partners. We don't have an MOU with Amazon per se. This is really about the whole ecosystem in Northern Virginia and augmented by the policy capital of the world. You know, a lot of the problems we're taking on are not just computer science issues or technology issues. They're about how technology impacts society. They're about disparities. They're about opportunity. They're about human factors, about the policy and ethics issues. So I think that there's a huge opportunity there because that's, if you look at industry right now and employers, not just federal organizations, the state, non-governmental organizations, they're actually a little frightened right now about where artificial intelligence, machine learning, some of these technologies are going, because a lot of the limitations to those are going to be not in the technology per se, but in the ethical and regulatory space, as we're seeing with, say, Facebook right now. Mm-hmm. So I think that the opportunities are just tremendous for engaging and providing insight, providing research, providing programs that companies and partners can't do internally. So I think I look at it as a huge portal, a platform for Virginia Tech as a whole to be present there with our partners at a big scale. And we want to leverage that back in Blacksburg as well, and also in Roanoke and around the Commonwealth. I mean, one of the things that I think is really exciting about what we're doing with the Agricultural and Natural Resources Initiative and our presence in rural Virginia is around smart farms and that whole area. If you think about that, that ties into autonomous systems, it ties into artificial intelligence, it ties into GPS or global information systems. It's technology's the future, but not technology by itself. It brings in the other issues, and it will apply to every domain we're already in, including agriculture, but certainly the health sciences. So I see this as this move that we're making as a foundational element to our future. It's not a peripheral thing. It's not even just a tent pole. It's really about our role in the Commonwealth and around the world in the next 10, 20 years.
Great, thank you. Dr. Salmon, could you say a little bit about the infrastructure here at the university? I'm thinking link, launch, expanding industry partnerships. How will those integrate into what's going on in Northern Virginia?
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Dean Morton. So, yes, so my day job is as Associate Vice President for Innovation and Partnerships, and that's what I came to Virginia Tech to do a couple of years ago under Teresa Mayer and Charlie Flegger and Mike Moyer. And the concept was that we really wanted to be a gateway for industry partners and also support our technologies and assets that we do develop at the university to make sure that they have pathways to market. And so we have two centers, Link and Launch, which are really companion centers. One is really focused on the business development of growing strategic partnerships, and the other one, as I said, is translating those to market. And we see this as just as President Sand said, a wonderful platform for really enhancing that. We ourselves want to be great partners, and that's part of what my team is here to do, to act as a gateway to help industry as they wayfind Virginia Tech, what makes a great partner, how can I get more involved in working with students and sponsoring research, how can I help with scholarship, and all the ways that a company can be engaging with a university. And my center is here to really support that. As I said, with the Innovation Campus and even the enrollment growth here, we hope to be a really great partner all along that way and set that as a foundation for the future. There is something really compelling about being co-located with partners. And as we all watch what happens in the Northern Virginia region in particular in this time where that region where we will be has seen significant job loss over time. The government exited through the 80s and 90s in Crystal City and the National Landing area, leaving close to 25,000 to 30,000 jobs lost directly by the government and then all the ancillary jobs around that. In fact, their transportation levels are now to that region about 1980s levels, whereas most of the world, of course, they've increased. And so that gives you a sense of what is there. There's a huge lack of occupancy in many of the buildings there. And this was why Amazon eventually chose it, for the many reasons we've already talked about, but also just a wonderful place to be that was sort of waiting for them. What they would say in the region is that we've been wishing for this, and now we have a name, and the name is Amazon. And so we expect Amazon to move in, but also other industry partners. And you'll see that in many other spaces and regions where Amazon is, for example. In addition to that, there's the federal partners that we already know to be there, and then those intersections between private and public sector. So this affords us a great opportunity to be right there when this transformation in the region is happening. And as President Sand said, carry that back and integrate that with our plans in Blacksburg. Do you want to talk about the case study?
Well, I did want to add a couple of points to that. Thank you, Brandy. A good example of, I think, what could happen in the future is the recent announcement by 1901 Group, which is based in, I think, Fairfax. They're based in Northern Virginia, but they wanted to expand, and so they're expanding with 500 jobs or so in Blacksburg and another couple of hundred in Northern Virginia. And they're doing it specifically because of the mapping of Virginia Tech and higher ed and their needs in Northern Virginia, which are increasing, they're doing well, but they want to be next to the source of talent. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. We just heard the announcement from a couple of days ago that Daimler Trucks is buying a majority stake in Torque Robotics, one of our local companies started by Virginia Tech students, and not because they want to move it, because they want to grow it here where the talent is. So I think that linkage, that's why I think of Northern Virginia as kind of a portal. We'll see growth here that will complement the growth in Northern Virginia, and it will be the same companies.
Wow. Thank you. So we're talking a lot about the tech pipeline, and we've talked about the graduate education, the undergraduate. Is there programmatic thoughts with relation to K through 12 education to really start students and children off into this talent type pipeline? How does the higher education package tie into that? Are there any plans in that area?
Well, there is money specifically for that
Okay.
in the tech talent pipeline that we haven't talked about, but maybe Brandy or Cyril would like to address what the kinds of conversations we're having, maybe just in general about that.
Okay. So we absolutely think that's a key pillar of what we intend to do with the campus and as well here. As President Sand said, there is money allocated in the package, but there's just, as Dean Morton alluded to, just a real need for thinking about pathways and making sure, for example, that children get a strong start in computer science. There's a lot of thinking around what that means, kind of computational thinking skills or computer thinking skills. The mathematics curriculum has been vetted for many years. The computer science curriculum is not so. In fact, many schools that teach computer science don't have teachers who understand how to code themselves. So there's a whole frame of thought around ways that you can support a K through 12 initiative. It can be everything from creating experiences with the community to creating faculty who are actually thought leaders in that space. And so we'll be, just as with everything, taking a deliberate approach to framing what our impact will be, and it will probably be a bit of many things, including active engagement with the community. You want to take a pass at it, Cyril?
Yeah, so when you think about a talent pipeline, that pipeline doesn't just start with a higher education institution. It's a pipeline that actually starts in the K through 12 system and goes in an integrated way through all the different kinds of public institutions in the Commonwealth, and then beyond that to continuing and professional ed. And so for us really to achieve our goals in terms of really advancing the availability of talent necessary to grow the economy and educate citizens of the Commonwealth, we have to work across public higher education institutions, and we have to connect those to the K through 12 system. And then we have to be, we need to be looking for opportunities for those individuals who complete their formal education, who go into the workplace, and then need to cycle back and connect again, and they can do that in different phases. So this connectedness, the necessity to think of the tech talent pipeline as a continuum through our entire educational system is actually fundamental to achieving the end goal in terms of really producing the talent that our Commonwealth needs.
Thank you very much. Well, there's many questions I'd like to pose, but now it's your time to ask questions. If you're here in the Haymarket Theatre, please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you. Remember, we're recording this, and we want folks who are watching online to be able to hear your questions. If you've joined us online, you can submit a question. There's also an email address you can use, and I'll see the questions here on my laptop. We'll answer as many questions as we have time for. I think we have a question there in the middle, please.
Yeah, I can see how this idea is really, really going to help the engineering and CS department, but I'm a little concerned about how this might impact our liberal arts majors. Do we have a strategy to make this partnership benefit everyone?
Great question.
I could make maybe a comment and turn it over to our about that from the outset. Matter of fact, some of the themes that are emerging from conversations with faculty and students are really exciting because they're taking on this intersection between technology and the digital life, if you will, and the human factors that have to come in, including arts and design, but certainly looking at the effect of disparities in implementing technology, looking at, as I mentioned earlier, ethics, the regulatory side, the policy side. And so I think almost everyone could be involved downstream. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that the state is funding us, at least initially, for computer science and related fields. That doesn't limit us. That just says that they're going to subsidize that piece of it. but we have a huge opportunity, and I hope you're all thinking about how you might take advantage of having a bigger presence. We already have a presence. We've been there for 50 years, but a much bigger presence in Northern Virginia, and what that might mean to Blacksburg, and what kinds of new scholarship, degree programs, new ways of thinking about the human lens on technology. I think that it's almost unlimited. So we don't want to limit our thinking to just the narrow technology fields. We need to be thinking beyond that. And what's wonderful about Virginia Tech, and one of the reasons we were selected, well, we raised our hand, but one of the reasons they kept persisting with us being at the center of this whole activity was because we're a comprehensive university. Yes, we have 10,000 engineering students. We're the number 5 generator of bachelor's degrees in engineering and computer science. We're certainly a presence at the national scale in engineering and technology, but it's the fact that we have very strong programs looking at science and technology and society, that we have the Institute for Creativity, Arts, and Technology, human-computer interaction, all sorts of aspects of the problem that are much bigger than just a technology piece alone.
Do you want to add?
Yes. So we are a comprehensive land-grant university. And what that essentially means is that we are committed to continuing to build depth across the full disciplinary context of our institution, all the way from the arts through the humanities, the social sciences, technology, engineering, health sciences. And we have to do that to be successful. Unless we do that, we do not meet our land-grant mandate, and we do not create the opportunity to really engage in fantastic ideas that really are wrapped around the innovation campus and the tech talent pipeline. Let me put that into perspective. So most of us, I think, appreciate how these instruments have transformed our lives. And there's a lot of computer science in this thing, but it has a lot of engineering as well. And it's elegant. And it changes our behavior in positive and sometimes negative ways. And it raises interesting questions about privacy, policy issues. The ability to really have impact as a land-grant institution means that we need to continually look for opportunities to engage this broad disciplinary context. And it turns out that computer science and computer engineering is not a bad place to start, because it creates a really good scaffolding around which and upon which you can engage a whole variety of disciplines across the institution. That's our philosophy. So as we move forward, we fully acknowledge the commitment that we have and will make in terms of advancing computer science and computer engineering, but we're already planning, thinking about how that particular disciplinary context can engage all the other exciting things that we do here. And so we will have an opportunity to do that, and we are working on the planning right now.
If I could just add quickly a plug for a book that I found to be very helpful answering this exact question. It's called Robot Proof: Higher Education in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. It's written by Joseph Aoun, who's the president of Northeastern University. And he coins a word, I don't know if he's the original person to coin it, but he uses the word humanics. And really what he's talking about is that we should be focused on what machines can't do, and that should be our focus, is that what machines can't do and the interface between that and machines. And I'd encourage you to read it. It's a quick read. It's a little bit academic, but it's I think you'd enjoy it if you're interested in that subject. And it might inspire you if you're in the humanities, social sciences, or liberal arts, to think a little bit about what the opportunity space is going to look like in the coming years for bringing in those disciplines in a very critical way at the very center of this activity.
Well, thank you for that discussion. I'm going to take a question that's come in online, and I'll just read it verbatim. Thank you for this question. What will the new campus and national landing look like in fall 2020? I'm wondering if we have plans or concept drawings yet, and will this be a temporary structure or eventually be part of the built-out final innovation campus?
Well, fall of 2020, the campus will look green. But the campus, to the response that Brandy gave earlier, we are moving fast. And so, of course, most of you have heard that we will build an academic building and an innovation building first. They won't be delivered fall of 2020, but over the next 3 to 5 years, that construction will be underway and we hope completed for the academic and the innovation building. And so, we're moving fast. But at the same time, it sounds a bit like a conundrum because we're moving fast, but we're being deliberate. But we are because we intend to be in the place and space for a long time. We've been here for close to 150 years. And we'll be celebrating that soon. We have that kind of horizon and vision for the facilities that we'll be building in National Landing.
And I might just add 2 points. One is that we will have startup space there in Alexandria where we will be scaling our programs over the time when we're constructing new buildings. And the other fun fact is we're working hard to transport the Future House, the global international winning Future House there. So there might actually be a physical building of ours there, but that wouldn't quite meet the scale that we need for our programs, but still fun. So on the drill field today, hopefully in Alexandria over the summer. So we're excited.
Times Square in between.
That's right.
Wow.
So, if I
Please.
might add, you didn't ask the question about what else is happening in the interim, but I would say that I don't want to give the impression that not much is happening because a lot is. I have to think about things that are as mundane as, because I get really excited talking about all the programmatic things that are going to happen there. But when you have operations and administration in your title, you have to think about things like hiring people and paying people and buying things. So we are working very hard in designing what the service will look like for the campus. And Brandy has been instrumental working with a lot of our colleagues across the institution to really help us stand up the support for the Innovation Campus. So that is very real work that is underway today.
Thank you for that. Do we have another question? Please.
Thank you guys so much for this. I didn't know a lot about the Innovation Campus before coming here, and I'm very excited about it. My question is, as I'm sure you're aware, Arlington County, where the HQ2 is located, is currently discussing its transition to an entirely renewable energy system. Amazon has been talking about that for a while, and part of the deal that they struck with the state to bring the HQ2 here was that they would get most of their power through renewable energy sources. So I was curious to know if the Innovation Campus or Virginia Tech more broadly was going to be in some way participating in that process, either through energy or investments or so on.
Interesting
Well,
question.
it's a great question. Do we have anything to add there? Because we haven't, as far as I know, really addressed that issue, but we're aware of it. One thing I would say that may help inform not my answer today, but in the future, is that we are not envisioning a walled campus. We're actually talking about an innovation district. So those kinds of decisions are going to be made by a larger group, a community, including our partners, including the occupants of retail establishments. We're going to have housing, and I think one of the big challenges for us is affordable housing. We're going to be part of that solution. So I think that the energy and power issues are something that we'll do as a community, not just by ourselves. But that is clearly where we're headed. A company like Amazon is trying to, and any of those tech companies are trying to go almost entirely to renewable power. And we're going to be part of that movement. Specifics, I don't know yet.
Well, I have a question from online that's related. We've heard about how long we've been here in Blacksburg. We've been 50 years. I think we're celebrating the 50 years in the National Capital Region in just a couple weeks. And this question is related. What will happen to the other locations in Northern Virginia once the Innovation Campus is completed and operating? Falls Church, for example. Who will move to National Landing, and when will this be decided?
Sure. So, as you are aware, we have a number of programs that are actually distributed in several locations in the area. not only in Northern Virginia, but actually, for example, the College of Vet Med has a campus in Maryland, and we have a presence in Washington, D.C. too. I would anticipate over the longer term that Virginia Tech will continue to have several sites of activity in the greater region. But this does present an opportunity for us to take really a closer look at our programs and look for optimization or advantages around potential reorganization of those programs. We don't know yet what the details may be there, but we do need to recognize that this opportunity to build a brand new campus from the ground up provides an ideal opportunity for us, to the extent that reorganization may optimize, for example, proximity to partners or other programs, that this is an opportunity that we need to take advantage of.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you. With the expansion of the undergraduate program here at Blacksburg, I was wondering how exactly this is going to affect the housing affordability for the Blacksburg residents, and if Virginia Tech has a plan with Blacksburg going forward for how they're going to help the Blacksburg residents deal with the increased housing prices.
Very good question.
And maybe I can frame that, and everybody else here can pitch in. But we set up, we had a conversation with the town of Blacksburg several years ago about our desire to take Virginia Tech in Blacksburg to scale. And what that meant is up to 30,000 undergraduates. We started around 25,000 5 years ago. We're about halfway there. We're a little over between 27 and 28,000 right now. And what this does is fits within the envelope of that. So there isn't a plan to go beyond 30,000 by 2023, because we've had that conversation with the town already, and I've talked with the mayor about this, and we've had many conversations at different levels about our plan. So really, we don't expect that this will change anything in terms of the overall magnitude of the student enrollment in Blacksburg. There will be, it does provide some resources that go into especially the computer science part of the growth, and anything related to that. So remember, in order to prepare a computer scientist, computer engineer, they're going to be taking humanities, liberal arts, they're going to be taking science classes, a lot of them. And we have some programs that span computer science and statistics and math and fields like that. So it's a bigger bubble that's growing, but it will all be within that 30,000 by 2023 because of the issues of not only Blacksburg's resources, but the infrastructure that we've got on this campus, which are strained in some places, and we need to build those up. So we've got, as you've probably seen, we've got some new residence halls coming up. We've got some new dining facilities coming up, and we have some new classroom space coming up, and all those have to happen for us to grow on campus. But yes, we're having those conversations on a daily basis with the town of Blacksburg.
Yes, sorry. Actually, earlier this afternoon, I had the opportunity to update the Blacksburg partnership group about the very topic that we're talking about now. And I spoke about growth in students and faculty and staff. We spoke about the benefits around visibility of the university, about the convening of talent, about the economic impact in terms of the business outcomes. But we also spoke about how important it was that we move forward hand in hand in constant communications and anticipating some of the challenges that we need to address. So, for example, we spoke about childcare, and we have an existing partnership in terms of how to address that particular need. We spoke about property values of residential areas close to the university and the particular challenges around that. So we are in constant dialogue with Blacksburg, and I certainly sensed an excitement within the group about the future, but I think also I came away with the assurance that we were in it together.
I would also add, just to, in case you missed it, yesterday the General Assembly of Virginia and approve Governor Northam's proposal for a $2 billion investment in I-81, which is really critical going forward. So we're pleased that I-81 is getting some attention, because growing anything in this area is dependent on being able to get in and out, and that's going to happen.
Thank you. Other questions? This gentleman here. Yes, sir.
Now, I understand that the Innovation Campus as well as the campus in Blacksburg are going to be viewed as one entity, but how are you going to facilitate communication between those entities? How are you going to move people, resources, and capital between both of those?
Great question.
That's a great question, and one that we're actively thinking about and planning for. Back when we started the Beyond Boundaries visioning exercise in 2015, one of the, I wouldn't call it a surprise, but one of the revelations from that conversation was in gathering students, undergraduate and graduate students, and talking about what they envisioned for the future of Virginia Tech a generation from then, that they would be able to be anywhere in the world and anywhere in the Commonwealth and still feel like they were plugged in, that they could keep their courses running regardless of where they were, that they would be in communication, they would be free to move around, that they could pursue experiential learning wherever they wanted and still be connected. So we have a lot of work to do. It's a huge challenge. It predates the Innovation Campus, but the Innovation Campus gives us a platform to do some experiments in that. We started a bus service between the Blacksburg campus and our Arlington building. It's not heavily used, but it's a great ride, and it's, I think, a lot nicer than driving. We now have the train, at least between Roanoke and Northern Virginia. We're working on, as a community, to get that pushed down into the New River Valley into Christiansburg as well. That may be a few years, but that will help. So all of these things will help us better communicate. The other thing we're working on, and I'd just like to, the other challenge we've got and opportunity is to make sure that our students and faculty and staff feel that they can take advantage of the flexibility that the Innovation Campus will provide. Let's say you're a faculty member and you start your career in Blacksburg, you build up a research capability, you're teaching here at Blacksburg, you're engaged with the community, and there's an opportunity at some stage of your career where you find your partners are in Northern Virginia and you want to be relocated to Northern Virginia. You can stay within Virginia Tech and still be at the Innovation Campus. It could work the other way. It could easily work the other way, where people who start in Northern Virginia then relocate to Blacksburg. We have to make that, we have to have policies, procedures, we have to take account of the difference in cost of living, and we have some of that already because it does happen occasionally, but to do that at volume and to provide that as an attractive feature to come to Virginia Tech, different stages of your career, maybe it's on a weekly basis, but maybe it's every 10 years, you can move around. Having students being able to do internships in Northern Virginia from a platform up there is something that's critical. Not just summer internships, but semester-long and longer internships. So we have the housing issues, we have the communications issues, the ability to keep up with your coursework. So that is the challenge ahead of us. And that, if we don't do that right, we'll end up with two separate campuses, and we don't want to go there.
I might just add that I think we can also hope that technology really is our friend moving forward, and that the ways of kind of being in two different spaces and feeling a part of one space will actually work. I mean, even today we'll have all technology around us and still have to revert to talking on the phone rather than seeing each other. But I would hope that that's a big part of how we think about the campus, so that we can actually have that duality of location through technology. And I know our architect and folks like Dwayne are really thinking about those really exciting technologies kind of built in from the beginning.
Great, thanks. I'm going to take a question from the online audience. I'll say it verbatim. I was wondering about the types of master's, PhD programs offered at the Innovation Campus and when application and enrollment will begin.
Sure. So we'll be starting both with the graduate and the undergraduate programs this fall. So we're really getting going. As much as possible in regards to the graduate programs located to be located at the Innovation Campus, we are using existing programs and appropriately adapting those so that we can start the enrollment this fall. We're also going through a process of developing new degree programs that can be implemented and delivered from that site. And so we'll be starting those at our existing facilities in Falls Church, and then as soon as possible, we'd like to be actually locating those in startup locations at the campus site. So starts this fall. Existing programs from the get-go, but a lot of work has been done now in terms of designing and putting together programs that are going to be well adapted to the particular market need, and then going through the necessary approval process.
And we maybe missed this point earlier, but on the Blacksburg campus, what we're looking at is a 4 to 5 year ramp up in terms of the entering classes for our enrollment growth, but then a few more years as we fill out those classes one by one. So if you want to think of maybe an 8-year time span from now until we reach some kind of steady state. So it's not going to happen in 2 years. It's going to take some time to build up, and we're only going to do it as we have the resources and infrastructure available to preserve the quality or enhance the quality of the programs.
I'll also give a plug for our beautiful new website, specifically for the Innovation Campus, and a great team who helped put that together in short order. And as news and events are planned, we'll be putting them on the website, so it's a great resource for us moving forward to communicate with our community.
And I guess the URL is right up on the screen behind you there, so I invite you to visit that website. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I just want to say I'm really excited about the Innovation Campus, even though I'm a creative writer. And one of the reasons I am is because it seems to me that there's all kinds of things we can think about doing in the future. Sylvester Johnson is already thinking about it with the Center for the Humanities. I'm on that stakeholder group. Deans are on it too. And there are some really wonderful things that we're talking about that could be done. I wonder if we could also think, though, more creatively about the fact that many of my best students are engineers and computer science majors. And it seems to me that if we really want to create graduates who understand the ethical dimensions and the imaginative dimensions of what they're doing, we ought to think about doing something maybe similar to what Arizona State is doing, where they have a project called the Hieroglyph Project, where those people who do science fiction writing work with scientists, with students, and they write things together. And as a novelist myself who's just finished a science fiction novel, I know how important it is to enter that world and to try to imagine what the future is like, not just in terms of what a particular technology is doing, but in terms of what the whole world is going to be like in that environment. So I'm wondering if we could think a little bit more creatively about how we're going to graduate those students in that wonderful new innovation campus who will understand some of those things and who will maybe even experiment with them, I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Those are, great ideas, and we need your input and ideas. You mentioned Sylvester Johnson, and he's contributed some ideas that I think have been from a larger group around tech for humanity, is the term he uses. And there's some really great themes in there that I think will provide creative opportunity for all sorts of our students. So thank you, and look forward to any ideas that you have as you think about how you could plug in, or some creative ideas about how you could make this a really vibrant campus in all the dimensions that we have at Virginia Tech, and even beyond, things that we don't do now. There's a huge opportunity there. There's also an opportunity for partners, and where we don't have strength, we can seek out partners to fill in those gaps. And so I look forward to hearing more about that idea. I think it's a great one, but we're open to whatever you've got.
To build on that wonderful point, so my own journey is that I was a biologist by training and know very little about computer science, but have had to learn a little bit as I've helped with this effort. And this idea that we are in a fourth industrial revolution for the digital economy, and we're in a time of change like no other. And I know we've been hearing that for most of our life, but it's really now true if you look empirically. And that there's the greatest promise of technology ever, but also perhaps the most peril. And important people in the world like Bill Gates will tell you the same, and that there's the very foundations of our democracy are at times challenged with some of the technologies that are now available. And so to do technology, as President Sand said, is not enough, and it's all the pieces around it that will be fundamental, and not just ands, but actually integral to the technology development itself. And so it will be in every conversation, this is the point. And being in DC, essentially, and the heartbeat of our country, where policy and regulation takes shape, is just such a gift to us at Virginia Tech, and why we're the perfect school to be there and be here. So,
if I could add, how many of you were at Mae Jemison's talk last night in the Moss? Yeah, Laura was there. She was she's the first African American astronaut, and she gave a great talk about some of these things Lucinda was mentioning. She's a big Star Trek fan, and she was making the connections between some of the things that you see on Star Trek and what we've actually achieved. And she also put it in the form of her 100-year Starship program. I don't know if you have, I think it's 100-year Starship is the 100 YSS. So if you look that up, that hashtag, and what she's saying is, imagine a trip to Mars and what you would have to do to make a human trip to Mars successful. And then think of it and use that as a kind of a vehicle for thinking about spaceship Earth, if you will. Because when you think about a Mars trip, you tend to narrow your focus and you're worried about radiation damage. How do you provide food on a spaceship, or what's the propulsion mechanism? You get into the nitty-gritty, but then you start to realize there's a lot of parallels between that kind of thinking and what we need to create a planet that's sustainable and a sustainable way of living. So that parallel, that big leap that she makes from a 100-year Starship to the planet Earth and sustainability is just a phenomenal mind stretch that I hope that kind of thinking comes into what we do at the Innovation Campus.
Question here? I think we have time for one quick question.
Okay. So I just wanted to know if you plan to hire employees that are already established in the Alexandria community, or to kind of fight against the gentrification of jobs and communities, or do you plan to bring in faculty from Blacksburg, or somehow combine both?
Well, we're going to open up the aperture. We're looking for talent and employees of all sorts, and a lot of them will be from Northern Virginia. People are already up there. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. We have 2 hires, I think. Is that what we decided so far? But we'll need dozens and then hundreds. So yeah, we'll be looking at talent wherever we can find it. There are issues, and I think you're alluding to some of the challenges in Northern Virginia, which we have around the country as well. Wherever we have tech centers, we have issues around affordable housing, transportation, and I can tell you that our leader, I ran into Senator Warner yesterday. I've talked to him several times about this. He is just laser focused on this issue of affordable housing tied with the changes in the tech economy associated with the Tech Talent Pipeline and the Amazon HQ2 project. So it's at the top of mind, and I know that the city planners in Alexandria, where we're going to be primarily located, are very focused on this issue. So one thing I would add, and we were talking about this very topic earlier today, that the resources that will come in because of the growth give us an opportunity, the communities in Northern Virginia will be part of that, an opportunity to really take on some of these problems like affordable housing in a big and bold way. When you don't have the resources, it's hard to do anything, but those resources will be available, and we just have to make sure it's a priority.
Wonderful. Well, sadly, we need to end. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and it's 5 o'clock. I also want to say that this is just the beginning of the conversation. There'll be future town halls like this one. You can find the latest information on the website up there on the screen, and we'll take any questions that were submitted we couldn't answer today and put the questions and answers up on the website. I want to thank all of you here in the Haymarket Theatre, as well as those of you who joined us online, for coming today. And let's just close by thanking our panelists. Thank you very much and good evening.